I went from selling $20 memberships to $5,000 packages.
Amazing. You got a lot of clarity about your dream client, right? We
Yeah.
really drilled down on that. And then also what journey you were going to take them on. In looking at the prior work that you did versus the work that you're doing now, you're also attracting just a much higher quality
Yeah.
client because you're demonstrating an outcome.
And I know who I'm talking to. So before on TikTok, I still have almost 500,000 followers, but I was finding people who are like, oh, well, just teach me how to do this for free. Or like, why do you have to gatekeep? And I had to start also learning to value myself and my knowledge because I know that I have spent the time, the money, and the effort to transform myself so I can do it for other people.
I feel like we worked on that a lot with you because I think in your heart you knew who you were, but I don't think that you were necessarily confident enough in terms of developing your products, your services, and your pricing strategy around who you really are as a witch.
And that was like so helpful for you because I think sometimes I was just like so in it that I was like, oh, well, you just become a witch. And you're like, okay, yes, but let's get like the prices down, right? Like, what's step one, what's step two, three, and four in order to help a variety of different problems that people have. So now that my value offer, which I now understand because I like knew when I heard that, I was like, that's really important and I need to learn what that is. So creating that transformation from going from an empath to an intuitive person to a psychic to a witch makes the path so clear for my clients. And they can tell me, they'll be like, well, I'm definitely an empath, but I don't understand my intuition, or I've got my psychic skills, but I don't know how to craft spells. And by doing that, it just makes selling so much easier.
For you, it was like once we established that dream client and that clarity
Mm-hmm.
about both the client and the transformation, you knew where to meet them. And
Absolutely.
so your offers became more clear to you. And once your offers became more clear, it was like selling was like almost effortless. You're like, okay, well, I know where this person is. Like she's
Mm-hmm.
ready for either my 1497, my 997, or my 5,000, right?
Right. And I think, a big part of it too is that we talked about knowing where the client is and knowing how I can help them.
Yeah.
So that was really helpful because for a while it was like, well, I'm the product. Everyone wants me. And now that I've moved into a different kind of clientele who are more self-sufficient, who are go-getters, who most likely have a higher level of education, that they can do that discipline without me needing to hold their hand the entire time.
Yeah, because you were literally, when you came to me, you were holding your clients' hands who were paying you $20 a month.
I know, and it was not good for me. It wasn't good for my mental health.
Yeah.
And now that I've like gone through the program, and learning to sell was probably the hardest for me because I didn't want to be icky. Like I see it's really hard when you're taking in a lot of energy, right? So I became very conscious of whose energy I was taking in because you'll go on threads or Twitter and they're like, ew, it's so gross, people who are trying to sell. And I was like, okay, well, how can I do this and not like get that comment? And I was like, wait a second. After talking to you, I'm like, I'm always going to get that comment. And I need to not care about those people, but the people that I'm trying to sell to, the
Right. Or
people
the
who,
people that you're trying to serve, right?
right.
And the truth is when you get that clarity and you get the transformational outcome designed and in place based on right the research that we do, because the research is like the missing piece for most spiritual business owners. They just assume that they can create something based on their wisdom, knowledge, dark night of the soul, or their education, right? Their training
Yeah.
or certifications. And that's the missing piece. So through that research,
Mhm.
we really drilled down on your dream client and the journey. And in that, like at that point, you know that people are ready and willing to buy. So selling becomes significantly less sleazy and more like a service.
Yeah. And, as a priestess, that's really important for me is like being of service to others. And now I know what people are looking for. So a big part of it was uh, the psychic ability, the psychic development. I definitely have the 997 package. And I also offer a $20 membership a month where you can come once a month and practice with me. And so what's also great about that is learning that making myself available so people understand my energy will also bring them in.
Yeah, and I think we worked on that, like that ascended product suite where it was
Yes.
like, okay, look, if you can only afford $20 a month, I can still help you, but I'm not going to
Mhm.
be available to you but and before you were,
So
I feel
available.
like you were way too available for people who were paying you $20 when the fact is, and that's what I meant, like we worked on a lot, like your perception of yourself, right? Like you knew
Absolutely.
in your heart how talented you are and how much you have to offer, but it was like you were just giving yourself away. And so working on that ascended product suite where you're like, okay, I can help you at 20, I can do more for you at 997, more for you at 1497, and at $5,000, I'll make you a witch. Right?
Absolutely. And it's letting go of the guilt. I think there's a lot of guilt here. And like, in my industry, money can be very taboo.
Yeah.
And it's so hard for me. It was hard. It's not anymore to say, you know what? Yeah, you are getting what has been my essence and my life. Yes, it is worth $5,000 for a year apprenticeship.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. I want to see raise that significantly when you start
Mhm.
having those success stories. I really don't, because I know how well studied you are and
Oh,
how
thank you.
much practice you have. And I mean, I think, we can all agree, we're not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but we can all agree that there are a lot of, imposter practitioners out there.
Mhm. Yeah.
And, you built that for yourself and you spent a tremendous amount of energy and
Yeah.
time. And it's like when you teach, you're giving a piece of that away, all of that value. So it's like, just getting into that space where you can admit, like, I'm really valuable. Like,
Yeah.
I'm so valuable. And so I have to charge for that value because otherwise, if I just let people like take it for $20, I'm not only diminishing my value from a perception standpoint, but energetically, I'm giving too much out
And
and
not
not being
receiving
able
enough
to
in.
replenish. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was very frustrating. The other thing that I've noticed, which is so interesting and was part of my dream client, was people who actually finished the course.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was what I was seeing, a lot of people who were like, I want to be a witch, but I don't want to put the time, the effort into it. And
Mhm.
for me, that was like so draining and so disappointing. But now, like, I have a better relationship with my business and with my clients.
Yeah. And I love that. I love that you just said I have a better relationship with my business. And I think part of that strategy of attracting higher quality clients is really about that filter, which is that discovery call. It's like, well, you go from hoping to sell to anyone to only selling to the people that you know are going to honor the work. And that's so important because I think a lot of people, especially in the spiritual business realm, they get almost desperate to sell. And so they'll sell to anyone. And then what ends up happening is those people don't have outcomes. And when those people don't have outcomes, we don't have testimonials. We don't have case studies. We don't
Right.
have the things we need to sell more. And we don't have the proof even to ourselves, right? And that's
Yeah.
why designing that transformational path and that ascended product suite so that people really, I feel like before our work together, it was like you were like at that celeb status, but
No.
no one necessarily wanted to like pay you. But then when you got it, you sort of got it very clear in your mind based on the research we needed to do in order to build and brand something that was sellable. Then it became clear to you, okay, well, I know exactly what I offer and who I offer it to, and I'm not going to work with everybody.
Yes, I think that's a big part of it. It's funny when I was doing the worksheet that you gave me, one of them was like nurses. I have like I know nurses, like that energy is very aligned with me. Like a lot of people in my family are in the medical community, and so many of my new clients are are nurses.
People get into business based on their wisdom, knowledge, dark night of the soul, or their certifications, and they don't really have any strategy behind monetization. Do you feel like you learned a lot of strategy with me?
Absolutely. I think learning, you know, coming from a very thoughtful and an academic place, and I've never had business school. I've never had any of that. And understanding different types of buyers, understanding the different landing pages to help people go through that journey not just with me on the call, but through their phones has been so helpful. I can definitely say there's been a massive learning curve because for a while I was like, why can't I get this? Why can't I get this? And then it just clicked. And I was like, okay, I had to switch my mindset and now not work just from feelings, but from statistics, from marketing strategies, and follow them.
Yeah, yeah. So what we ended up doing with you was segmenting your dream
The
client
suite.
to
Yep.
to make an ascended product suite. Yeah, I think that was like the game changer for you.
Yeah, that was the
I think
breakthrough.
Yeah, I think it's the game changer for everybody, really, because everybody's trying to offer like 17 different non-related products. And it's like, well, no one is going to make a decision if you keep offering so many things. Every time you give someone else another choice, they're less likely to make a decision. So
Yeah.
yours is so natural. And then you really have a very tight funnel in place where you're doing not only the segmenting, but segmented targeting, and you can speak to every single dream client wherever they are at their level. So that's where I think you're really succeeding. I'm
Yeah.
so proud of you.
Thank you. I am too. Like I see myself growing as a business person, which I'm now comfortable with calling myself an entrepreneur. I wasn't comfortable with that 3 or 4 months ago.
That's amazing. Awesome. So what would you say to someone who is considering working with me?
So, as my grandma would say, is like if you're ready to put your big girl panties on and work hard, Lisa's gonna be your friend, but she's also gonna be your coach, and she's not gonna let you get away with things. She's gonna help you succeed. So be ready to boss up and get it done. This is not like a I may do this tomorrow. This is like, let's do it today so I can see the success tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So I'm the accountability queen. I
I love
know.
that though. I love that you're the cheerleader and the accountability queen.